Welcome back to the I Don't Want a Divorce podcast, our last podcast for several months. I'm wearing this shirt, Escaping Your Narcissist. This is the brand new book I'm working on right now here in February, and I'm going to be focused on that. That's going to be released, we hope, in August, and we'll do some podcasts on that book, but I'm focused more in short form, TikTok videos and YouTube videos, so check those out, subscribe to those. We are roaring forward with those big time. Taking a little break from the podcast. Now, today's topic is your supportive spouse and your prodigal. Let's say you have a supportive spouse. I've got some ideas for you. Having a prodigal is a nightmare, and it can easily destroy your marriage even if you have a supportive spouse. I want to make sure that doesn't happen to you. It's happened to millions of couples. I don't want that happening to you, and God doesn't. My team and I appreciate your support for these podcasts and for my YouTube and TikTok videos. We appreciate that very much. You're working with us to make a difference. If you haven't yet subscribed to my podcast, go ahead and subscribe and leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. And go ahead and subscribe. Check out the YouTube videos. We have a ton of those and a lot of TikToks. We're continuing those two ongoing, so you can subscribe to those as well. You will not be cut off from Dr. David E. Clarke and his incredible wisdom. You will not be, and that's the good news for you. Hopefully it's God's wisdom. Now, for all my resources for marital crisis, go to my website. Everything's there, davideclarkephd.com. That's Clarke with an E. You'll see my videos, my books, and my phone advice service. Now, today's topic, your supportive spouse and your prodigal. Central passage, Genesis 2:24, the first message in the Bible about marriage. For this reason, marriage, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and they will become one flesh. There's no other relationship in human terms that's one flesh. You need to protect your marriage at all costs. Agreeing on your prodigal strategy, ideally my strategy in adult children who break your heart. And being a team is important for your child, absolutely, and especially for your marriage, but frankly, it's not enough. I've seen many marriages get worn down and destroyed by the unrelenting pressure of a prodigal child, even when you're happy together and you're on the same team. I don't want this to happen to you. Your marriage is the most important human relationship in your life. Genesis 2:24 makes that clear. It's more important than your prodigal. Any other relationship. Do not neglect your marriage. If you do, you'll lose your marriage, and you'll still have a prodigal. Here's what you can do to keep your relationship strong and close during this season of trauma. I'm just going to pick a few points out from adult children who break your heart. Do not obsess over your prodigal. Many prodigal parents do. In my experience, one parent usually goes way overboard in obsessing over the prodigal child. Could be the mom, could be the dad. If you're that parent, have the courage to admit it to your spouse and commit to doing something about it. And here's what you can do. 2 prodigal-free days a week. Choose 2 days each week, 7 days. Okay, we got 2 days out of every 7 that will be prodigal-free days. Could be 2 in a row or stagger it. On these days, you will not talk about your prodigal, not even once. Utter not one word about your prodigal unless it's an emergency requiring your immediate attention. You don't talk about your prodigal, and you do nothing for your prodigal on those 2 days. Also, do not allow your prodigal to divide and conquer. They're known for this. A common mistake is to allow your prodigal to communicate with only one of you. They want to divide you. Don't make this mistake. It will damage your prodigal and your marriage. No secret conversations between your prodigal and one of you. Don't tell dad or don't tell mom is unacceptable, and it drives a wedge between you. You may communicate one-on-one with your child, that's fine, but every detail of that communication will be shared with your spouse. No exceptions, and you'll tell the prodigal that. Everything we talk about, I'm telling mom, I'm telling dad, don't care. Well, then I won't talk to you. Then we're not talking. 4 couple talk times per week. I've taught this principle for years. 4 couple talk times per week. On 4 days each week, have a 30-minute couple talk time. Just the 2 of you in a quiet, private place in your home. Allow no distractions. No television, no phone, no screens, no children, no pets. Just you and your spouse. These talk times are all positive. You will not allow any conflict or negativity. You will not talk about your prodigal in these 30-minute meetings. When you talk about your prodigal, that will not be during the couple talk time. It'll be at another time, another place in your home. I recommend during these couple talk times using my devotional, The Secret to Becoming Soulmates. book that I wrote several years ago. It's the last book that I collaborated with my dad on before he passed and went to heaven. And it's the most personal book I've written. I think you'll find it very helpful, very brief sections, very brief chapters on spiritual bonding as a couple. I think it'd be really helpful for you. The secret to becoming soulmates. Evaluate once a week. I think it's vitally important when you have a prodigal. Once a week, in a place other than your couple talk time place, evaluate the condition of your marriage and be very honest. Talk about these topics. So what's good about our marriage? What's not so good? What are our main concerns? What needs aren't being met in your life and in mine? The impact of the prodigal, changes you each need to make. At the end of this evaluation meeting, hold hands and pray out loud for God to help you keep your marriage strong and intimate. I would not hesitate to see a Christian therapist. That's why God made Christian therapists. If your marriage is really struggling in this prodigal season, don't be surprised. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be in denial. In fact, join the club. Every marriage struggles when there is a prodigal child. The stress and the pressure on your marriage is extraordinary, and it is brutal, and it doesn't end. Find a solid, licensed Christian therapist in your area who has prodigal expertise. Go together. This is a team. You're going together to work on your marriage and, of course, on maybe some prodigal issues. If your pastor doesn't have a referral focus on the family, you should have a list of therapists, Christian therapists in your area. Now, as I said before, I want to make this clear. This is the last podcast for a while. I'm writing a brand new book. You can see it on my shirt, Escaping Your Narcissist. What to expect when you divorce a narc. It's going to be thorough. It's going to be complete and very helpful. We're going to start cranking up some podcasts on that when the book releases. Probably we're looking at August right now, August 2023. So I'm more focused the next few months on TikTok videos, which have kind of exploded, and the YouTube videos also doing very well. The shorter form, very quick, very snappy. So we're going that route. I'm writing this book, so we'll take a break from the podcast. All right, and we'll crank this back up in the fall. There won't be any more on adult children who break your heart, but if you've got a prodigal, buy the book. Everything is in the book, a very detailed, biblical, specific plan. Okay? Thanks for listening. Subscribe to this podcast if you'd like to support us, and of course to the TikTok operation as well as my YouTube channel. All right? I'm signing off. Dr. David E. Clarke with an E. A goodbye.